There is a reason why we made a shirt on the OG pop-up shop at ogtrianglemediashop.com that says, "This team makes me drink," Joe. This team makes me drink, especially after they give up 2 goals in 39 seconds to start this thing against the Philadelphia Flyers. Welcome to another OG After Dark. Thanks to our friends at Bloomin' Blinds. Check them out online at bloominblinds.com. That's IN blinds.com. OG listeners, After Dark listeners, tell them you heard them on this podcast. And Chris and the crew, they're going to give you 15% off straight up. All right, Joe, the streak is over. The never trailed streak is over. The Canes did the thing that you have been wondering about in terms of actual game pressure. We saw glimpses of that in their OT win against Ottawa. This was almost a repeat of it in this overtime, where they overcome that game pressure early with that 0-2 deficit. You get Ehlers. They clearly saw something with Vladar early. They went to it a couple times. Aho almost got it, got a kick save. Ehlers gets that power play goal to make it 2-1. Seth Jarvis finally getting going. And I knew this was going to go a certain way because you saw me. You can back me up on this. I opened up the DraftKings app for the first time in ages. When the Canes were down 2-0, what's the live line? It was only plus 130 because Vegas knows. And then I thought, you know what? Tonight's the kind of night where Seth Jarvis is finally going to get one right. So I had the anytime goal score. The only thing that I messed up was I didn't get my Aho third period goal. Otherwise, I'd be taking you out to lunch tomorrow. Yeah, but it didn't happen. Nice. Taylor Hall ends up getting the game winner with 106 left in the extra period. And the Canes are going back to Philadelphia up 2-0 in this series.
Much like the Ottawa game 2 here, that also went to overtime. Hurricanes were outplayed in this game. And Freddie Anderson was spectacular in the overtime penalty kill. I did not think Andrei Svechnikov's overtime penalty warranted normal overtime protocol penalties,
especially after they put him in the box. Some of the things that the Flyers were doing in front of Freddie, including a trip of Ehlers who was nowhere near the puck, they didn't call any of that stuff. The crowd was losing their shit. So I'm with you on that. Yeah. I was very confused by that.
I thought Freddie was excellent in overtime. He's really seeing the puck, and he's really playing the puck better than I've ever seen him play the puck before. I thought he was spectacular in that overtime in particular. But much like that Ottawa game, in game 2, they withstand a little bit of the overtime pressure. You get a little bit of the puck luck with Freddie, but mostly he was sharp, was handling the puck well. I give a hat tip to Rod Brind'Amour here. The line shift, moving Jarvis to Stahl and Ehlers. I thought Ehlers was the Hurricanes' best player in this game.
Easily.
Very aggressive, was really controlling, playing with speed. I thought he had a lot of jump going for him. I thought that helped Jarvis. Jarvis's goal was the biggest one of the game because it tied it and forced the overtime. And then in overtime, you see that the top line again of Stankoven, Hall, and Blake creating and putting pressure on the opponent. So hat tip to Rod Brind'Amour, hat tip to Frederik Andersen. I thought those were the two big things that stood out to me. And also, as you pointed out, what would happen if they got off script? Logan Stankoven had some early chances in this game, much like the other games where you're like, okay. And that's what I wanted to see. What happens when you're not in charge? What happens when there's a little bit of rain? What happens when you're playing a team, quite frankly, in the Philadelphia Flyers, who were embarrassed in this building on Saturday?
And you knew
by their own words. They said they were embarrassed by their effort. Rick Tocchet said he didn't feel like his team was emotionally ready or recovered from the win over Pittsburgh in 7 games or 6 games, which is understandable. They haven't won a playoff series before. Quite frankly, this was a gold watch game for the Flyers. It meant more to them than the hunk of metal that their granddad stuck up his ass and carried back from Vietnam. So I just felt
how many years?
Yeah, I just felt like you're matching their intensity. And you know what? The first 2 goals that Philly scored, while predictable, first goal, the Drysdale goal, what are you supposed to do? That's an NHL goal. The guy's by himself in the slot. Good luck. And then the second goal was just traffic with their captain. I'm not even going to try to butcher the guy's name. Mike can come in and save me. So I didn't have, what I'm getting at here is I didn't have any problems with either one of the goals they gave up early. No, he didn't score. It was
No?
the captain, Couture.
Oh, okay.
Couture.
Oh, okay.
Again, just
Wrote that. I wrote that.
Let the
We'll
professional
let the
handle it.
we'll let the pro do that. As Mike Maniscalco.
So I didn't have a problem with either one of the goals that they gave up early, but it was obviously an encouraging sign for them to recover and to win a game when, not everything was sunshine and roses. So good for the Hurricanes, good for Rod Brindamore, good for Freddie Anderson. Did I miss anybody? I mean, Taylor Hall.
So, well,
did score the game winner.
Taylor Hall, yes. That's kind of an important thing there, yes. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Joe. Joe.
How are you?
I'm good. A little sad to see you two out of the suits.
I mean, if it would make you happy.
He's making promises for certain rounds. So.
What made me happy was you were far more coherent than I thought you were going to be after game one at the wedding. There were some moments where I believe Giglio was doing like that soul searching, darkness is around the corner.
Joe was just tired. He was just tired. He had a long day. We partied with our friends for the birthday bash. He had to. It's very tough work being Jess's arm candy as well.
No,
those are things that came into play. Although Joe looked sharp in that suit, he was definitely better dressed than me.
He looked great, and
I think tonight, to transition to the Canes, this is another one of these things where experience and your character they got tested tonight with a very wonky, as Joe said, an off-script kind of night. You knew the Flyers were going to come out here because they were embarrassed. And I thought that everything that needed to go right for the Canes did. You got the right guy to score and tie this thing up with Seth Jarvis, who desperately needed to get it on the boards. And, of course, who else but that line to wrap this thing up at the end?
Yeah, and by the way, the subtle move of Rod Brindamore putting Jordan Martinook up with Svechnikov and Aho and putting Jarvis with Ehlers and Stahl. And everybody was thinking, well, it was something that, Tripp and I talk about this before the game and talk to some folks. Well, if, you run into a little bit of, a sticky situation, what do you do? And the easy thought would be, how do you get that line going as we're talking about the Aho, Svechnikov, and Jarvis line?
Yeah.
Well, the easy line would have been, you drop Jarvis back down with my two dads, the Jordans, and you put Nikolai Ehlers up there. That's what you thought would be the easy fix. But no, this was the right move to put those two wingers with Stahl. He'll win the draw. They'll take care of the rest. And that leads to, I think, a huge goal. I said it on the broadcast. It's got to feel like King Kong has gotten off of Seth Jarvis's back after scoring that goal.
And you could tell in his reaction.
Oh, 100%.
His boys sounding the siren tonight, obviously in attendance, probably a little bit of juice from that, but
no, a ton.
You could see it in his face, the way the relief after scoring. And it was a great goal, by the way.
Oh yeah.
It was not a kitchen sink, dirty, greasy. It was let me
a hard
skill
shot,
you up a little bit.
Hard shot. I'm gonna tee this up and good luck stopping it. I'm gonna shoot it through you. That kind of had that feeling to it. But the penalty killers again tonight are the story. Where they kill off 6 of 7, including 1 in overtime. And they give up 1, but I should have seen that coming.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It's YouTube exclusive.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I respect it. I don't have to like it, but I can respect it.
That's fine.
But the penalty killing this postseason has been just off the charts good. And by the way, the Drysdale goal, if you look at it, Freddie Anderson and company, they're getting the puck out of trouble, and it just goes right to Drysdale right in the middle of the slot. And it's a great shot that beats him. I heard you, Giglio, you're right. There's no fault. I have no fault on either goal that when people like to poke holes for this or that. No, nothing you can look at for the goals that were scored.
I don't really look much on Freddie there. They had a very, very hard time. But what did you say, Joe, at the beginning of the game? If you're going to be a puck possession team, you kind of
got to have the puck.
You got to have the puck, which they didn't have. They didn't do a good job of clearing it. They had. It's one of the. We see this with the Canes every so often where it just seems like the puck does not want to stay on the stick.
Yeah.
Tonight was one of those nights early. And look, credit to the Flyers. They cashed in on it. But the thing that I kind of noticed, and look, I'll admit that maybe I read this wrong. I wasn't all that impressed with Vladar tonight. I thought he actually chased it a bit. He was at equal times kind of locked in. I get it.
Yeah.
Other times I felt like he was fighting it. He was really fighting what the Canes were trying to do. The Canes simply could not finish. They could not cash it in. They had multiple chances at the end of the third period to try to get this thing out of here in regulation. Didn't cash it in. It's fine. Couple whiffed pucks, all that kind of stuff. But you could definitely tell in the third period that they had irritated Vladar.
Yeah.
And it, I think, carried over. You saw him gesturing at the end of this game. I think it's a tough one to lose. I just thought the Canes Oh, wait, what happened to my camera? Anyway, I'll wrap up my point. The point is, I thought he was there to be had. I was getting frustrated with the Canes' inability to take him. Whereas Freddie in the overtime was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Hard stop.
I will go back. Let me reverse the tape on you. And tape, by the way, was a thing for our old asses that we used to use and was rewind and fast forward. It's a 2-1 game. And if this game finishes 2-1, rolling around in the back of my head would have been, is Dan Vladar found it again, meaning he gets the win, and he wasn't spectacular, but good enough to win this game. And now he's going to go home and feel comfortable and have the Flyer fans on him in a 1-1 series. So I do think it was important that this game for Carolina ended the way that it did, the way that it was trending. I don't think that you wanted to go to Philly tied 1 apiece. I'm not saying that, it shifted everything to the Flyers' way, but it really
changes the complexion of the series.
If
the Flyers get the result that they thought they had earned.
And again, I don't want Flyer fans to get mad, but they already are.
No, I mean,
but after
state of mind,
after game 1, if you're a Flyer fan, if you're anybody, you have to be thinking, how is this Flyer team going to find a way to compete with this Canes team? They sent the message here tonight. Now, if they get Owen Tippett back in the lineup, now they can go back to Philly and just do the exact thing. Hey, this was the best team in the Eastern Conference. They had tied with the Boston Bruins for the most home wins in the regular season. They did what they were supposed to do. Now we've got to do what we need to do to send it back to Raleigh and make it a best of 3 series. So tonight, I give credit to Philly because they did find, okay, this is how we have to play. We got to be comfortable playing this game. But they never found that knockout punch when they had the chance to do it. But that I give the credit to the Canes. And the other thing, too, I don't have a problem with the calls when you look back at it. And, of course, when we're on radio, we're not afforded the replays we get. That
you don't have the same, right?
But everything that we looked at, everything that I saw, I'm like, that's a penalty. You can't bitch about this call or that call that much. The refs are calling what they're seeing. If anything, Vladar bails out Carolina when he decides to lose his mind and slash Logan Stankoven, and you get 4-on-4 instead of a power play. Like, well, no, he thought he got ran into and wasn't sure there was going to be a call. And I think that was part of and parcel of what you were saying.
That was part of the irritation.
That is part of it. But the long story short is we hadn't seen the Canes play from behind in this postseason, right? 5 games, not that it was easy street in every game against Ottawa. They did have a double overtime game, but this was all right, you're down. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And they found a way to tie it up. And then as overtime kept going, Freddie was great. I think we all can now say Freddie Anderson is fine in net for Carolina, at least in the second round again.
Put a pin in that.
I
put a pin in that.
I had to answer that one again today.
He's really seeing the puck, Mike, and playing the puck better than I've ever seen from him.
His decisions,
very
with the puck,
confident.
Joe, it's
decisive, confident. It's
when you've got a goalie who, when he gets the puck and he is like, I know where I'm going with it. I'm not playing the guessing game. I'm going to go here. He has not made a bad decision with the puck in the postseason
at the end there.
But I mean, but it's
but it wasn't like a terrible
exactly.
One. It wasn't in front of the goal. It was behind the goal.
Yeah,
but he's seeing the puck. There's a confidence there. There's a decisiveness that he has not played with since the 23 conference finals.
I mean, I might be dead wrong. I haven't really had the chance to talk to him much about the Olympics other than what was it like over there in the experience. And he talked about, it was great. But he came back from the Olympics, Joe, with like, I love playing the game, right?
Yeah.
That kind of renewed, this can be fun. We can have, he knew that Denmark wasn't going to win a medal, but, get a win, get a couple of things over there, enjoy. And then he came back here and things started to click into place for him again, a little bit better, a little bit more run support, the calm Freddie that we've seen. When he is that calm, moving like what you're saying,
check
decisive,
a pulse, man. In the overtime, you got to check a pulse on that guy.
His heart rate never gets above 60.
He wasn't.
So
he was not flustered in any way, shape, or form. Just an outstanding. The overtime penalty kill almost was 100% on him because the Hurricanes defense, while often spectacular, they had a lot of different looks.
They did, and give Philly credit. I think they finally found some things that they addressed in overtime or wherever, saying, hey, if we get another power play, we have to do this, take advantage of what the Canes do. The other side I've got to bring up, though, there is one thing. Let's not do the full sunshine and rainbows on everything. The Canes power play, so relieved that they got the goal, right?
Yes.
And okay, here we go. And then the power play, they had to start the second period. They get that early power play. It looked good. They had shots, they had chances. And then after that, you can, it's been proven in history, you can win in the playoffs if you don't have a power play, if your penalty kill keeps doing what the Canes penalty kill is doing. My thing is, at some point, you can't have the power play be like an energy vampire and suck away what you want to do.
That's true.
At 5-on-5.
And again, there's your puck possession. There's some of your face-off issues. There's your zone entry. That's where they're slipping a little bit. And I would say maybe, without looking at the minutes, you're missing Nikishin, who helps on that front.
Sure.
And now it also erodes. You got Ghost probably playing more than he needs to play, not on the power play, right? So you're moving your slots a little bit on the defensive side. You can almost explain the power play in a little bit, right?
Yeah.
The good news is you're getting away with winning without the power play.
Right.
You're getting away with winning without Sebastian Aho really impacting the game in a meaningful way right now. And Svetch today, look, the three penalties,
full experience.
We were getting the full experience there from Svetch. Again, I don't love the overtime call. I am of the opinion overtime needs to be assault and battery. It can't just be one without the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know by the letter of law it was a penalty, this and that. So I'm not going to bang them too much for the overtime penalty.
Well, the initial high stick, the first high stick, was BS. Like I'll go ahead and say it.
All right.
I know Mike's in a different position than we are, and I'm wondering if that guy who called the VP that we know that was put out on social media, if he'll call in and be like, "Oh yeah, so I guess we got some things there, right?"
Oh.
The second one,
I just want to know what Martin Brindamore is going to have to say about
Martin.
Which,
yeah.
I said this on the show today. For a guy who claims to have played 14 years of hockey and is a big Philly guy, how do you fuck up Rod Brindamore's name? But pride of Philly. But hey, man, that's another story for the day.
And I did see a Brindamore jersey.
Of
Philly.
course you did.
Yeah.
We're going to see plenty of Brindamore. We might see a Brindamore jersey when we go up to Philadelphia this
No,
weekend.
you will.
I'm sure we will. I mean, heck, it's Rod's the reason why they're in the playoffs to begin with, right? For that last game, right?
No, not playing everybody.
I'm not taking the bait. Not taking the bait.
Mike's not taking that bait. I texted Mike. I'm like, come on, do it on the broadcast. But he did not do it. No, look, I thought the first high stick was like, what are we doing here? Incidental. I mean, then again, this is the same officiating crew that called a penalty of the guy who hit himself. Right. So there's that. And then the second one, I guess that was more to the letter of the law on that second one. I still thought it was a little bit ticky-tacky. And then to Joe's point, I was shocked to see that call in the overtime.
Really, overtime needs to be a freaking Marty McSorley with the two-handed swing of the stick.
That's not crazy.
But no, the funny thing about that is, like, for years, that's what everybody just bitched about. Oh, it's the Wild West in overtime. You can kill a guy, and like,
what was it? He had a trident. Like,
where'd you get a grenade from? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I remember watching some playoff series where you saw like that guy should go to jail.
That's right.
And we play on. But again, the big takeaway for me for this one, this is the first time the Canes have had adversity as hey, you're down, and not just down. They were down 2-0. They gave up 2 goals in 39 seconds, and you're going, okay, what's the deal here?
And a desperate team. You're playing a desperate team, an embarrassed team. They responded in a way that the Hurricanes would.
Yeah,
quite frankly.
But yeah, my mindset on this series, where after game 1 shifted, I'm like, well, this might not see the light of day in Raleigh again. Where I give Philly and Rick Tocchet credit. They made adjustments. They did things they needed to do. The Canes are going to get Alexander Nikishin back, I would think, somewhere in this series, and
Thursday,
Philly's going to get Owen Tippett back somewhere in this series. He'll make their power play a little bit better.
I guess that was those were the questions I was going to have for you. One, we go from Nikishin looking like he was going to be in game 1. Rod talked about, like, looked like we were heading that direction. Did not happen, and then we don't see him in game 2. So I get it. Concussions are weird.
Well, no, but the thing about game 2, because what you just said, I'm sorry to cut you off.
It's okay.
But the way you won game number 1, give him game 2 off. No, trust me. Don't put yourself back out there that close to it. Give yourself another day to distance yourself from what happened.
Totally agree with that. And then with Tippett, is he good? Like,
I don't know. I've talked to the Philly guys, and they're like,
Okay,
We don't know.
I was just
Well,
curious.
We'll give them the same benefit of the doubt that I would give Ehlers in the previous round. This is the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you can walk, you're playing, and it's a serious enough injury that you're not going to take a shot and get out there and play. So I would just suggest that that's what's going on there.
To the YouTube comments from Mike, y'all thought we were getting grumpy gigs on Saturday, but we're getting a silent obvious crash out right now. Yeah, the camera.
What's going on?
No, the camera. Look, I'm still figuring out this OBS bot camera. The software defaulted.
Oh, this is the one where it moves.
It'll track, but
so
I turned off the tracking.
Mike was the mic.
Mike could be
Mike's
here,
the mic. Got a point.
As Brant points out, that camera moves to whoever's speaking, and the camera knows that Mike's got the better takes. So that's all it was doing. It was just moving over to you, which is true. Is true. But now let's get to the real question, Mike, from Cameron. How many Bussy starts game 3 phone calls did we get in the first period? But that, of course, extends itself to I understood Ottawa. They had some time off. He wasn't overly taxed. I get it. He was spectacular in this overtime. You get the extra day to go back to Philadelphia for game 3. Are we going to follow the same pattern, you think?
I think it all depends on game 3. It does.
Meaning we're going to see him in game 3. We're going to see.
Oh, it'll be Frederick Anderson.
We'll see Frederick Anderson game 3.
By the way, Frederick Anderson didn't give up a goal for 60-plus minutes after giving up the 2 goals.
Right.
Just so
And
if we're
again,
going to.
either one of the goals, you can't nip.
Yeah.
We talked about this in game 1 against Ottawa, how the Hurricanes defense was not giving up those types of chances. And I know the Drysdale goal was a power play goal. So here you have a pro in the middle of the ice, by the way. And again, Joe Giglio knows nothing about hockey, but I look at I'm telling you, this test never fucking fails, man.
The stats test?
No, this test never fails.
No.
Looking at Drysdale going, that guy's got a lot of skill. Well, sure enough, in 2020, he was the number 6 pick in the fucking draft.
Right.
How do you think you become the 6th pick in the draft? Got a little bit of fucking skill.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was a nice play by him.
And he was the guy who they got for Cutter Gauthier, who was supposed to be that forward coming up, who was going to be the
And he was
next line
also
of
the one in
forwards,
overtime who had the best chance. That what I was mostly worried about. So, again, I think you give Freddie credit in the overtime penalty kill for sure. Rod, I think, gets credit for the Jarvis move. I thought that was really good. Now you got to start working on a little bit of things. But, again, I think you leave here, just as the Flyers will leave here and say, all right, we got to play this way like we did in game 2. Now I'm going to give you both what you want, or what I really want, usually want. This is where the experience comes in.
Yeah.
Because the Flyers are not mature enough to leave here and say, we just have to keep at it.
Right.
We have to play this way, because you just got your shit packed in because you feel like you won a game and you were in control of a game and you feel like you were going to get out of here 1-1. You know what I mean?
Are we on not a real sweep watch?
I don't think it's that. I don't necessarily think it's that. Although, did you hear the remix from Cooper?
We did hear the remix. I heard the remix.
We won the game. We just didn't win the
scoreboard. Yeah. We didn't. That was good. I've said that before.
That also gets you a silver medal and a plushie. So it happens like that.
But I think
speaking of silver medal, John Cooper's seen 2 games like that.
I know. I just say he gets you a silver medal and a plushie.
That's why he's a great coach.
I think this is where the experience comes in. I don't think the Flyers are at the point where they can take tonight as a positive. I think they're more taking this as a kick in the nuts, because you come out of here 0-2, game 1, fine, you're going to lose big. Game 2, you have a lot of control. You're in this thing, and then the overtime penalty. You feel like you should be 1-1 right now going home.
All right, so 2 things on that. One, I want to go back to the John Cooper thing for a second when I say that's why he's a great coach. He's a great coach because he can literally break it down and go, look, I'm not crying, I'm not bitching, I'm not moaning. This is how it is.
He's right.
That's great. That's what Rick Tocchet has to do here tonight. When you talk about the maturity, Joe, and this is where I think, Giglio, you could be onto something, but there are a couple of guys who have been through it in Philadelphia. Konechny, Couturier, they've been there for a while.
Couturier, he scored the goal.
Yeah, he got.
I didn't have no idea how to say his name.
Yeah, Sean Couturier.
Thank you.
But those guys have to stand in the room, and Rick Tocchet's got to stand there with those kids and say, "Look, this ain't the kick in the nuts because this doesn't knock us out. What this needs to be is you almost got me a wake up call.
Yeah,
that all right, we can skate with this team. Almost got me. We can skate. By the way, if you're obvious, he could sense. But it's for him. It's
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's
here's
on the
what it is.
road.
And
It's
so-
on the road. So if you, to your point, if you take game 3, now all of a sudden you're like, hey, we're on serve.
Right.
But if you lose game 3,
Then it's like, yeah,
because guess who's going to play better in game 3?
the Canes.
The Carolina Hurricanes are going to play
100%.
better in game 3.
100%.
I promise you.
They
That's who's going to play better in game 3.
I will be the most shocked person in the building if they do not come out with their best start of the playoffs in game 3.
But that's hard. That's a high bar right there
No,
because
it
of the
is.
way they're starting these games.
But I think they will. And that Xfinity Place Center is going to be. I wish they just kept it the first year.
By the way,
so appropriate for Philadelphia, but that place is going to be just bedlam because those people are going to be drinking bile ready for this. Let's go
on Thursday. By the way, Rod has some kind of sense of humor. He's truly in his Gary Williams era right now. Like Logan Stankoven has scored in the first 5 seconds of every game. I'm going to start Jordan Stahl, Jordan Martin. I'm like, what are we doing, Rod? What are we?
Rod is stubborn. Rod, hey, did I just not give a little soliloquy at the end of today's podcast about our mutual hard-headedness about certain things?
Yeah, he's got us on that front.
Rod has us beat on hard-headedness, but then again, who are we? It works out, you know. He seems to push the right buttons for these types of things. Now, speaking of pushing the right buttons, we'll get out of here on this for you, Mike, before we start taking some OG sports phone calls.
Oh, okay.
From another Mike. Glad we got the dub, but we need someone other than Stankoven or Blake to score. We don't have balanced scoring so far in the playoffs. That was a strength in the regular season. The scoring up and down the line. You had the depth scoring. You had that graphic on the television broadcast of all these highs and marks and everything else. That is not off base.
No.
And a lot of the focus had been on Aho and Jarvis specifically. I think Svechnikov is having a very typical Svechnikov postseason for the Canes. He's doing a lot of things, both good and bad, being in the box, all that kind of stuff. But he's active, he's noticeable, he's those types of things. There have been some moments where I forget that Aho's on the ice. And with Jarvis, we know we've been in on that kind of stuff. So I get that the depth scoring is there and the guys are stepping up right now. But after this series, and Joe and I talked about this earlier today, after this series, these things get increasingly difficult. The teams, analysis, hashtag analysis, it's only going to get harder from here, and you're not going to get to where you want to be if that line is not producing. So
it's fair. By the way, Mike, great name. Don't ever change it. But I am reminded of a few things when, you're looking for what if this doesn't happen?
Sure.
Right now I'm looking at what has happened.
Sure.
And the Hurricanes are 6-0 in the postseason, and they really haven't gotten a contribution from what is their top line. Even though Sebastian Aho has 3 goals, one for all intents and purposes was a shorthanded goal, and then the 2 empty net goals in Ottawa in game 4.
Yes.
So, okay, I'll give you that. Seth Jarvis scoring tonight. I know it's not on that line, but that's big. That's the pressure. The pressure is off. Nikolai Ehlers scoring, not just scoring, but scoring a power play goal. Yeah. So that's a little bit of balance there. And if you can keep the Stankoven line doing what they're doing, like I'm not worried about it. Like, you need the one thing. Yes, the Canes' hallmark has always been balance, but it's, people would always say, I don't know how many of the out of town interviews you do or the stuff that I get called on to do, and they're like, well, who's gonna score the goals? Who's the guy? And I've always been the strength is in the numbers. Yeah. Well, now you got the guy, right? Yeah. So just ride this. And what I'm hoping for, to your point, Ovius, is that as this team moves on, and I'm going to back both comments that you made, where Giglio is 100% on with the maturity of this team, but to your end, you got to get it from these guys at some point. But the history is going to tell me you will get it.
Yeah, you should get it.
You will get it. It's just, my hope is then you don't want the Stankoven line to dry up. You want that to keep doing what they're doing if you're going to win the whole damn thing.
Well, the depth scoring tonight, let's be fair to Eric Robinson. I mean, he could have scored how many different times tonight? And one bounce here or there, and he's got one. Jankowski had a nice, that was the end of the first period?
What's going on with the cameras today?
I don't know.
I think it was the end of the first period where Jankowski had a 2-on-1 that looked like it was, So that to me is depth scoring. Aho and Svech, that's different.
Yeah,
that's different.
It's for me though, when you can put the Jankowski line out there, and they're going to have a shift where Carrier and Robinson are going to get a shot on goal apiece and create this stuff. Again, tonight, this to me is all right, you finally got dealt a little bit of cold water in the face. How do you react to it? And then, by the way, after that, 4 minutes, and the goals were 39 seconds apart. So I think 4:41, 4:02, and 4:41 into the first period. Then you don't give up another goal. You gave up some chances, but it's to quote the great Mike Eruzione, when people were looking for things that didn't happen. Well, if Bill Baker didn't score the goal, you'd be painting bridges. Well, Billy did score the goal.
Yeah.
Well, the Canes won tonight. They're up 2-0 in this 2-0 in this series heading to Philly. But I'm going to be really curious to see how Game 3 plays out.
So I'm guessing that if Aho watches this, if Jarvis watches this, if specifically Aho watches this, he's going to go, okay, cool. You want to get on me? Hey, Ovias, in his Finnish accent, how about you figure out how the cameras work so they don't do unnecessary zooms? How about you focus on that?
Not going to lie.
Tech boy.
Why don't you do your job? All I know is when you weren't here, it was really smooth when Gilio was running the shift.
It's not true, but all right, get out of here.
The Super Cop story was working.
Yeah. On that note, we're going to check in with you in Philly.
Yeah.
All right. See you Game 3. It'll be a late night. And then we'll see you in Philadelphia for Game 4.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, boys. Sayonara.
That is Mike Maniscalco, Canes play-by-play here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. A little bit of a reset. We are here at the arena. It's OG After Dark. It's brought to you by our friends at Bloomin' Blinds. Check them out online at bloominblinds.com. As I mentioned earlier, there's a reason why I was very inspired by this old, clearly knockoff sticker that our old colleague Chris Clark found while he was at school, and it said, "This team makes me drink." So we did an inspiration of that, and we did the Drunk Playoff Pig, "This team makes me drink" shirt, which is on the pop-up shop right now.
Oh, nice.
So OGTriangleMediaShop.com. Again, that's OGTriangleMediaShop.com. Comes in 3 colors. You also get the Drunk Playoff Pig, if I can actually properly go back to this website. This comes in the Comfort Colors tee. It's got our new variation on the Drunk Wolf, but it's a drunk pig holding a keg of OG Light with the OG on the pocket. We also just have that on the front. So go to OGTriangleMediaShop.com. And, of course, our friends at Bloomin' Blinds. Check them out online at bloominblinds.com.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
All right. As you know, with the OG Sports phone in live After Dark mode, we just raw dog these calls. See what we got. 704.
Joe, who needs dudes when you just have everyone else?
That's it? Who needs dudes when you have everybody else? Yeah, I see what you did there. Let's go to a 919.
Taylor fucking Hall.
Curse or don't.
We need Philly fans to call in. 832.
Well, that was a pretty good comeback for the Canes. But then that was interesting. Couple of non-calls in overtime, and interesting what goalie interference or whose goalie gets interfered with, I guess, should be the way that should be defined, or who pushes into, you get the gist. Other than that, I think that was an interesting line change to change the entire thing, and there's coyotes howling at the moon. So I think the line change worked pretty well. I have a concern, and this is where I'm going to be a pessimist. I have a concern. There's 7-game series to win the Stanley Cup. They're undefeated deep into the second round. That's my concern. I actually have concern. I am a little bit more of a pessimist, but I would kind of like to lose a game. I'm not saying lose a series. Glad they're hot. I just get a little bit more concerned. I'm glad today was a comeback. I'm glad that kind of eases those concerns. But I want to have a little bit more of the story of And the word is actually leaving my mind, so I don't know I can't remember what the word is, but more of dang it, I don't remember the word, but like some type of hardship that they still have to face in the playoffs. And I'm glad that they fought with a comeback and with everything else. Other than that, good thing we're up 2 days from now going into Philly.
Other than that,
adversity. Is that what he was looking for?
Look, if the Canes ended up losing tonight, it's not the end of the world. They weren't, and we talked about this a little bit earlier today. Going back-to-back sweeps to start off your Stanley Cup playoff run is not as common these days as it used to be. Okay. So losing tonight, what I had jotted this down, because as it's going into overtime, you have to like come up with on the fly 2 takes, if you will, right? So that I feel like this is back in your newspaper days where you had to have 2 headlines. You had 2 game summaries because you had the basics, but you didn't know how it was going to end, right? And the general attitude that I had, I still think it applies with how this game went. That the Stanley Cup playoffs officially started for the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. I am not trying to be dismissive about Ottawa. I'm simply saying, and I'm not being dismissive of my own take about how that double overtime win was one of those, hey, real-time experience. You didn't implode because that goal got taken off the board. You still found a way to plug away and find a way to win. But you got that classic, losing your first home game. You had the classic, you're no longer, you haven't, you're finally trailing. You had all these things that are going to go against you. So I felt like tonight was the true, like, okay, what's this about? And I thought the Canes, by getting a win or lose, but by getting a win, you saw them actually handle that adversity. The experience, like we've been talking about, has come to fruition. And like you said earlier, a win like this is going to go a long way towards sinking the Flyers in the long run. I still think that this is probably going to go 5. They'll lose one of these games coming up. I know we talked about it with Maniscalco in regards to Freddie Anderson. I'll be really curious to see what happens in game 3. If they win, do they do the same playbook like they did in Ottawa? Let's just close this thing out on Saturday and then wait the other series out. And then the battery resets. You can recharge the Freddie battery. And if they lose on that Saturday, well, then what? Do they go to Bussy to potentially close this thing out here? It's just one of these things. That's the next question that we don't have the answer to. And I'll be really curious to see how Brendan Moore handles that. As we talked about earlier with some of these line changes and who he started, he's pushed the right buttons. So I would imagine that the same thing will continue there. Let's go to a 619.
Man, oh man. I'm going to channel my high school soccer coach here. It's a lot harder to pitch a shutout after you've let in 2 goals than it is to do a complete shutout for a game. Freddie Anderson had all the makings for a classic regular season blunder, and he locked in after the first 10 minutes of that first period. Man, he is single-handedly the reason you won this game tonight. Which brings me to my question. I think tonight constitutes a pretty high usage game for him. Do you think there's any chance that Rod looks to put Bussy in for the next couple of games, or at least in any capacity going forward after a game like tonight? Also, can we just cank game 2s from now on? Because I got to work tomorrow, and this is 2 game 2s in a row where I've just been up way past my bedtime. Go Canes.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to get any mostly sports takes from Brandon Walker on what the crowd looked like on a Monday night.
It was only 1 overtime. No,
good
note
point.
again, I think Hurricanes fans are willing to stay for the first overtime. But we've seen before, hey, if this thing's going to go 4, I'm going to go home so I can watch the rest of the game from my bed. The thing about Anderson and the way that he's playing right now, I'm trying to emphasize this. It's not that it's not just the goals allowed or the lack thereof. It is the way that he's playing the puck. You understand the problem with Brandon Bussy is he can't play the puck.
No.
He can't handle the puck, and he fights the puck.
It's an adventure.
At the end of the regular season, he was fighting the puck.
Well, the criticisms that I had of Vladar tonight do apply to Bussy. There's a little bit of fighting there and whatnot.
Yeah,
so.
I think where you're right about Vladar is final goal was a product of his inability to control the puck and control a rebound.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, earlier in the game, it was like, okay, he's sharp, he's in position, but he's not controlling the puck.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie right now, and you can see, go back and watch the overtime penalty kill. He sees the puck. He moves with the puck. The glove is crisp. His passing has been spectacular because he's decisive. And that's become a big part of this become a big part of the playoffs for the Hurricanes. The games in Ottawa, he was passing, setting up goals.
Yeah.
Because he was the zone entry that we've been talking about that they've struggled with some, particularly on the power play. His passing has been a big reason why this team has been able to get the zone entry that they have. So if I'm Rod Brind'Amour, there's not a chance I'm not playing. There's not a chance I'm playing anybody other than Freddie Anderson. And I just think that's how it's going to go. I think you're just asking too much as it's going. A, you don't derail Freddie.
No.
You know what I mean? And then B, the Bussy's real weakness is playing the puck, and that has been Freddie's strength. I mean, tonight was just a clinic in passing and controlling.
Oh, yeah. Well, shit. You know what? We've gone 42 minutes. Speaking of the passing, when was that? Was Robinson, right? Robinson was all alone.
Oh, the shorthanded
on the shorthanded opportunity.
Second period.
Yeah, this was with 11:25 left in the second period. Robinson was just free in the neutral zone, and Freddie just with the awareness and just zipped the pass, man. And Robinson was right there. And again, this is another one of those finishing opportunities that just didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's a little wild in front of Philly's goalie, but again, the Canes kept at it.
The way Vladar is playing is a little bit like Kachekov plays. He's a little aggressive. He gets out. He can flail a little bit and struggles to control those rebounds. And I think you saw that on Taylor Hall's game-winning goal.
All right, let's go with 336.
I'm not the world's biggest hockey fan, but Fred Anderson with the lock-in of the century, that was incredible. That was amazing. Freddie Anderson, you're an icon. You're a legend. If that was the only game of hockey I'd ever watched outside of those first, 3 shots that the Flyers had, I would assume that you're the greatest goalie of all time. I love you, Freddie Anderson. Go Canes. Go America.
What if I told you we'd be getting calls like this on May 4th?
Go America.
What if we went back to December and told you?
What if I
told you?
Yeah,
if that were the case.
Let's go to booed in this building.
Let's go to a 9-2.
Hey guys, Kelly. Just a quick take. Nothing major, but yesterday when Joe O, when he went after Giggs for being what the term would be a wet blanket after winning on Saturday night, I immediately flashed back to the live OG you did when State beat Carolina, and I believe it was probably a tenth of a second into the podcast where you, Joe O, were the wet blanket about this victory didn't mean much because they were missing their 2 biggest. And that was all true. And I'm not saying you were wrong to say that. I'm not saying it's wrong that Giggs was wrong for saying about, hey, Philadelphia is probably the worst team that is out there in the playoffs. I think this just shows that maybe all spending too much time together and you need to take a vacation from each other. That's all I'm saying. Appreciate it, guys. See ya.
We don't have that choice during playoff time. In fact, we're traveling to Philadelphia. So, yeah, no, we don't have that opportunity. Hey,
thank you for keeping score, though, Kelly. I appreciate it.
Kelly, hey, great call.
Keep him on his toes.
But, you see, I'm good at dancing. Even though you didn't see me dance at Rand's wedding because I was too busy setting up for the podcast. You understand the difference between that game and the context around that game. Then,
yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm not going to belabor the point. I'm just saying context matters. And in the course of a 7-game series, or in the case of a one-off, the other thing that's very, very important here, when State and Carolina are playing, we have 2 types of audiences coming in to check us out. We are a Triangle Sports podcast. We are not Look at me. We are not a state podcast. Much to, and I know some of you are laughing when I say this, but we are not an NC State podcast. We are a triangle-based sports podcast. So when State and Carolina play, well, there's going to be some got to hear both sides, if you will. When we're in playoff mode with the Canes, there is no got to hear both sides, okay? None. In fact, I remember talking, I'm not going to say who it is, although you know who I'm talking about. He used to work at NC State, and he always would text me. So explain this to me. You guys are just cheerleaders for the Hurricanes when we get to this time of the year. But if you do this for State, whoa, the whole... And I'm like, right, because the Canes bring everybody together. That's why.
That's fair.
So there's a little bit of context here. So let's go ahead and go back to the phone lines. Go to 704.
Hey, guys, it's Paul. Yeah, I don't know. Are we sure he was onside? It looked offside to me. I don't know if that goal should count. He looked offside. But anyway, wow. Philly, man, that's got to be so demoralizing for Philly, man. They dominated the first 10 minutes of this game. They got up 2-0. Carolina just kept fighting, got us back to tied, and then Philly came out in overtime and was dominant the entire overtime period. And Carolina just kept fighting, and they got the scrappiest, scruffiest goal you'll ever see. That's playoff experience, man. That doesn't happen for Carolina the last 8 years. You can just tell, man. They're different this year. They don't ever let anything get them down.
We appreciate that call, Paul. You had me there for a second with the offsides. I'm like, wait, oh yeah, we're referencing the Ottawa series. Let's go to a 919.
Is Ray Ferraro a little cuck bitch or what? Every fucking game he calls against the Canes or for the Canes. Any Canes game this little motherfucker calls, he's always fucking passive aggressively trying to cheer against us, dude. Like, Aho gets pushed into the goalie and he's like, he didn't get pushed. It was more like a steer. I mean, Ray Ferraro, steer yourself into a fucking wall, you motherfucker. God, I know you sucked in Hartford, but, you know, this is the Carolina fucking Hurricanes now, dude. We haven't been Hartford for, almost 30 years now. We've got a 20-plus year rich history of playoff games, a lot of them double overtime classics. So recognize the Carolina Hurricanes are the shit, and you're a little bitch, Ray Ferraro. Fuck you.
Curse or don't. That was aggressive.
Hey, curse or don't. Curse or don't. Let's go to a 919.
Hey, so I just finished the live from the last win. I heard we got Carolina Mike on our fucking train now. And, he was on the Hornets train. He didn't even make the playoffs. He was on the Panthers train. They didn't win a playoff game. Now he's on our train. And we're down 2-0 in 3 shots. I'm fully convinced we're now going to lose the series 4-1, and we need to banish Carolina Mike to Atlanta, Georgia.
Damn.
Have a good day.
Damn. Leave Carolina Mike alone. If I may offer a response to that, Carolina Mike was around the entire Panthers season. Okay. It wasn't just like he showed up on the scene at the end and then they made the playoffs and they lose. And because he's like a big Charlotte fan, yeah, he did do some Hornets stuff, but I think he started the Hornets stuff once the football season ended and the Hornets were on this win streak. Now, if you wanted to make the argument that he was bandwagoning onto the Canes, I am here for that conversation.
Or likely the Canes reached out to him. Would be my thought process.
The real thing would be is if they actually have him be a siren sounder. And then when he's done doing the siren, he throws his cash.
Yeah.
That would be, again, I feel like we've given the Canes plenty of ideas, especially with sports phones. So maybe they'll take that one too. Let's go to a 919.
Guys, what's the deal? Still no OG light in Chatham County. Let's figure this out, all right? This is ridiculous. Taylor Hall's a legend.
Yeah, OG Light, appropriately enough, will be OG Lime, I should say. OG Lime, appropriately enough, will be available on Cinco de Mayo. by all means, elevate white people taco night in your house with OG Lime. If that's not a tagline on the back of a shirt from Mikey P, I don't know what is. Elevate white people taco night with the shredded lettuce and the yellow cheese and the ground beef and the stale taco shells. And of course, diced tomatoes. You need diced tomatoes. Elevate with OG Lime. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, it should be available. I think the closest thing to Chatham County that we'll have is Beer Study in Durham, I guess.
Okay.
That would be the closest one, I think. So check out Beer Study in Durham. They should
Our guy
have it.
Daniel in Charlotte wants to be the personal mule to run it to Charlotte.
So, okay.
He says he's got a spot for us.
Okay, well, if he has a spot for us and he can convince them to take 50 cases, then let's go.
I don't see why not.
Because Bond will deliver minimum 50 cases.
Oh, okay. There's a min. I didn't realize.
Yes,
Okay.
to get out to Charlotte, there's a min of 50 cases.
Okay.
I researched this. That's why I tried to reach out to Rhino Market.
Yeah.
But I haven't. I don't know.
Rhino Market, what's up, man?
Rhino, come on. We got people who want the OG Light. They want the OG Lime. Come on.
And you got funky beer.
Right. And we would fit in just fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to 1919.
Hello, guys. This is Sabah, a long-time listener. And my husband actually predicted the game tonight for the Hurricanes to win 3-2 in overtime. But, of course, he didn't make a bet. I'm like, how do you not make a bet 3-2 overtime? I cannot believe how many shots we did on goal that didn't go in, even like point-blank ones, and we still won this game. But this team is so exciting to watch. I just know it's going to end soon before we're ready for it to end, but I'm just going to enjoy the ride. But I just want to give a shout-out to my husband. He did predict 3-2 overtime Hurricanes. Again, I won no money from it. Enjoyed listening to you guys. Congrats on the 3 years. I always listened to you, Joe, back in the day. And Julio, I'm glad you're with them. And I'm so glad that you guys went out on your own and you're being successful. So good luck. And thanks again. Talk to you later. Bye.
I appreciate that, Sabah. Yeah, Sabah has, speaking of OGs, Sabah has been around for a long time, listening to our stuff, reading your stuff. It's all fantastic stuff.
There's a 60-minute line on your favorite apps, Sabah, where you bet on the game to be a draw.
Okay.
That's what I did today.
That's what you've been doing.
That's what I've been doing, yeah. Because if it goes overtime, I win. And if it doesn't, I win.
Yeah.
Because that Ottawa game, that was... Your boy wasn't ready for that one.
Yeah, I guess.
But now the Hurricanes and Flyers have played 6 times this year. 5 of them have gone into overtime.
Hey.
So guess what we'll be betting on Thursday?
Hey, you know what? And I made some money tonight. I'm very excited about that. Definitely made some money tonight.
You bet on Jarvis anytime goal scorer and the Canes money line.
Yeah, so when the Canes were down 0-2, it was plus 130. I figured that was the best it was going to get.
Yeah.
Because Vegas knows.
Yes.
So I took advantage of that $5 getting stand up. And then same with, I think Aho was like plus 400.
Oh, nice.
As an anytime. I would have gotten. I'm sorry. Jarvis was anytime. Aho was like plus 850 third period.
So you tried to hit a little bit of
thread
the needle a little bit.
I flew a little too close to the sun. Don't care. Still came out on top.
There
so
you go.
I'm good. All right, 2 more calls to 919.
Any win in the playoffs is a great win. Love it. 2-0 in the series. But we cannot play a game that bad again. Absolutely cannot happen. Attacking was, no players really were attacking except for Stankoven. He was being a dog as usual. Aho could not catch the puck. His passing, his hand-eye coordination, I don't know, it was way off. But most of all, Philly adjusted. I guess they've been watching Hot Garbage Sports. They put some pressure, and we couldn't set up in the 2-1-2, and they broke up all of our passes. So kudos to them. It's time for Rod to just not change the plan, not do anything, but in Rod we trust. Let's get some adjustments and tighten up our forecheck.
Got to reach out to Ryan again. He came on and joined us during the Ottawa series. I was hoping he would get down here for a game against the Flyers.
Said we were gonna get him a credential,
and we would get him credentialed.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe the schedule isn't necessarily working out for him. But either way, maybe we can get him down here for a game soon, and we will credential him. Let's go to 919 to close things out.
Hey guys, I'm listening to you now, and I'm not sure that other guy's call is ever going to end, so I thought I'd pick it up and leave you a message. Question.
He's referring to, I forget the gentleman's name, but he was like, concern. He kept talking about concern and was kind of workshopping it. And yes, I understand that we have some people who are like, guys, call the sports phone with like some coherent thoughts, but that's not the point. It's okay. It's playoff hockey time. If you just want to let that thing rip, let it rip, because we're just taking these calls blind. It is what it is during the After Dark. Let's go to a 919.
I'd love to hear your thoughts. Number one, Mike Robinson. Does he have hands or not? Because it appeared tonight that he did not. Although he's got great speed, the puck just dies when it hits his stick. It's not going in the net. So would you put KK in for Robinson in a future game? And second, where the heck is Sebastian Aho? Great win tonight. The deserved to win meter was pegged for Philly in overtime, and somehow we managed to do it, and that's what great teams do. So I'm looking forward to the next few games, but I'm a little worried about Seabass and when he's going to actually make it to the arena. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, look, we talked about that with Maniscalco earlier, and I'm going to defer to Mike because he made some good points. I mean, we get caught up in the produce, and yes, he does have goals in the postseason. You got the empty netters. I mean, he was this close to getting an empty netter hat trick, but oh well, it is what it is. Yeah, I think the concern with Aho and obviously the concern with Jarvis and that top line is just understanding what this team was built on during the regular season, and we just haven't necessarily seen it in the postseason so far, knowing full well when things come up potentially against Montreal or Buffalo, you're going to need them to make it past the Eastern Conference Finals and into the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, with Kotkaniemi, who was sitting behind us here on the fifth floor, look, I'm going to credit Luke DeCock on this one, and we'll probably link up with Luke on Thursday night for our After Dark / normal show as we go live on Thursday instead of 2:00. I mean, secret weapon, right? You got to keep your secret weapon on ice. If it's Montreal, you let them rip.
Yeah, no.
Let them rip for Montreal.
So
that's what it's written in the stars, Joe.
Yeah, I know Ovius is okay with names, but it was Eric Robinson. Eric
Robinson, yes.
But I without seeing Rod's press conference, I can tell you one of the players he likely praised in this game was Eric Robinson for the opportunities that he created and the energy that he provided. So I don't see him coming out of the lineup. But we also saw this already when Ehlers was hurt. Mm-hmm. They actually moved Carrier up and they brought Delorier into the lineup. I suspect we're not seeing KK anytime soon. And that's and maybe this goes back to settle the Natchez Giglio argument. Like, you think Rod had issues with Kotkaniemi or has issues with Kotkaniemi, which he does. He had a similar type of relationship with Natchez in the sense that he just wanted more and always wanted more out of him. So, but yeah, I think Robinson played. I actually think Robinson played one of the better games for the Canes tonight. Ehlers, Robinson, and obviously the Stankoven line created a lot of chances, even if they only had the one goal to show for it there in overtime.
All right, we'll wrap things up with some YouTube comments. New Cam's worth every penny on the OG credit card. Look, I'm still solving the. I've only had so many attempts.
Smartass or being serious?
He might be a combination of both. It's fine. Look, I get it.
I'll tell you something though. I don't know if you noticed this.
What's that?
The lighting up in that little cubby hole is nicer.
Yeah, this is more washed out.
We're washed because of this.
Because of this background. Yeah. So I'm thinking the next time.
That cubby hole's nice up there.
I thought about that.
Yeah.
So I think for the next game, you're right. The lighting's a lot. There's a little more depth.
Yeah.
Lighting's a little bit better. I see what you're getting at.
Hey, girl.
From Norman. Ovia's not even listening. Only Tech Man tonight. I mean, not incorrect. Look, it's a team sport. Okay, this podcast is a team sport. If there's one thing that I know is my role, okay, and when things get a little squirrely, that's when I go into tech mode. You guys get to watch it all live. Yeah, this is all real shit right here from James Curl, who knows a thing or two about cameras. Unnecessary zoom, or was it? Maybe I was keeping you guys locked in. You guys, I know what attention spans are. Maybe I learned a thing or two from Mr. Beast with retention editing. Oh, they switched it up. What's happening? Maybe that's the case. For a second there, I thought I said something else. Want to flap? Okay, just making sure. Camera 1, camera 2. Yes, you're right. Wayne's World. Camera 1, camera 2.
Want to flap?
Flap.
Like an Eagles fan, maybe?
Maybe a St. Joe's fan. I don't know.
Oh,
you never know.
Hawk
Never
dies.
Never dies. Never dies. From Mike J, this summer we need, this is, by the way, we've had a couple of these requests. We need a Mount Rushmore of drunk Joey Giggs podcast moments.
Hey, guys.
Summer protocols.
Saturday was not one of them.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So when you brought that up, people were like, all right, well, this sounds like summer protocols. Can we do a Mount Rushmore of drunk Gilio podcast appearances? I know what the first one is.
Yes, clearly.
It's the Elite Eight. Does your hangover with Roy Cooper count?
No. I wasn't, well, I probably
Are you sure?
Probably would have blown a .24 or something there.
And from Heel, we'll close on this because I've been getting this question a lot too as they're now going back on the road. Why don't the Canes do a watch party anymore?
They don't?
Well, they do. You saw it that they were promoting the fact that they got these watch parties at the Carolina Ale House, right?
You mean they don't do the thing downtown that they used to do because they changed that location to something else?
Yeah, so that's now something else. I think it's still owned by the same company, but they just changed it to some other thing, which is fine. Whatever, that stuff happens all the time. But I think, it's interesting because I've watched it too. I've noticed this. You're watching the Montreal series, Game 7. They're down in Tampa, and they've got the Bell Center packed out to watch it on the screen, right? I would imagine that once we get into the Eastern Conference Finals, if that happens, I'm assuming that's going to happen, that maybe they'll start doing some of that stuff here. I don't know. They would certainly do it for the Stanley Cup Finals. But you got to remember, as much as the Canes love, Canes fans love the tailgate and they pack this building out, it's always been in the history of the Carolina Hurricanes in the postseason, it's always been a little dicey for when it comes to like what to do when they're on the road. Everybody kind of has their own thing, right? And you got to remember too, and I've made this argument in the past as it relates to downtown arena and stuff like that. Canes fans spread out. It's not a centralized city hub like we see in other places, which makes it easier for people to just pack in a city center somewhere. Canes fans aren't that. And I'm not saying this in a negative way. I'm just simply saying what the reality is. Canes fans come from all over, and to get them in a centralized place in an area like the Triangle that is already spread out, where, look, and you and I both know this, because I have friends that are like, hey, let's go out to this dinner spot in downtown, and they're coming from like Cary or Morrisville, and they're like, I don't want to go downtown. Because they don't want it, they hate the parking, yada, 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 right? So I do think there's that element in play as to why you don't see those kind of things. And as Kyle correctly points out, 8 years straight in the postseason, watch parties should be saved for something like the Eastern Conference Final or the Stanley Cup Finals, not a place like Montreal that is like at a fever pitch, or Buffalo that's been forever and they're here and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's why we don't really see stuff like that. I think Canes fans are just too spread out in the long run. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for tonight's After Dark. Again, big thanks to our friends at Bloom & Blinds for sponsoring the After Dark.
You need to do a brought to you by, or
we can, since I was going to ask you. This is kind of like a meeting here.
We're having a meeting.
Since this will act as Tuesday's show, would you like to do a brought to you by?
Yeah, I got a text from our guy, Matt Davis, State Farm Insurance. Give him a call. Or you can go to insuregarner.com. He was at the game tonight.
Yeah.
We saw him at our OG birthday party. After the second period, I went downstairs. I got myself a hot dog, but I was going to get a frozen treat for myself. But Jared's got him too deep, man. Even at Two Roosters, too deep, man.
They move, though.
They do. But
that line moves, man.
They are moving some product here in the arena.
Yes.
I think our advertising's working for you, Jared. Us telling the people that you really do have the best bang for your buck at Two Roosters here 3 different locations at the arena, including over down behind 112, and then the main one over here on the 120 east entrance over here. So it's just a great product. And my cousins were in from out of town from New Jersey, and they were like, what was that ice cream?
So it's funny. They did our event. They can do your event.
Yeah.
Go to roosters.com. And I'm now bothered by the fact that a Two Roosters employee whose name escapes me, who was here as a fan, he's like, hey, man, love the show. I actually packed all the ice cream for the birthday bash. So I was like, man, shout outs to you, because it was
huge.
It was definitely a hit. Just like Roback is a hit. In fact, I got to pick out my Roback fit for Philly. Yeah.
Good call.
I got to get that. I mean, I'm rocking the Roback right now, obviously.
I probably will represent the Wolf in Philly, because I'm going to see Troy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I also don't want to like match with you.
You don't have the Brickyard that I have.
Okay, so I'm going to wear the OG black polo then.
That's fine.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're not matching. That would be embarrassing. Slightly embarrassing. But no, look, Roback's got incredibly comfortable polos. The new Oxford shirts, the sport shirts are fantastic. Yes, I had an extra button down because that's how I get down at a wedding, and that's why I looked as good as I did at Rand's wedding in a Roback.
Thanks to Roback. Use our promo code OG20, save 20% off your initial order.
And don't accept any imitations. Okay,
I love how you're learning this lesson.
I'm seeing these knockoffs, and I'm like, absolutely not. That's not a Roback.
Absolutely not the right quality.
All right. Also, big thanks to our friends at Miller Lending. Check them out online at millerlending.com. 919-447-3377. What, the Tigers are they cooked?
Yeah, Tarek Skubal out for the year.
Their
ace. He is not going to be happy about that, because he's up in Detroit, going to be able to watch some baseball. He regularly goes to the games. So one way to cheer him up, it would be to pay off your credit card debt, get a little cash out refinance with our friends at Miller Lending.
Yeah, man, it is what it is. All right. So big thanks to our friends at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority, bugsbite.com. They can take care of the outside of your house and the inside of your house. And they'll even spot things and tell you about it. Like, I brought this up before, but I think this is a great illustration of what they do. They came out to do mosquito treatments. They noticed there was gnat activity over the yard, which is an indicator of fleas. We've got 2 cats. Jacob's outside all the time, shooting pucks into the freaking creek. That's a whole different story that I have to get into one day, because if I have to keep buying more pucks, I'm going to lose it. But that's neither here nor there. He's out there working on his game.
Probably go Shanghai a few from downstairs.
I might do that. But they were like, no, they got some flea activity. So we got a treatment for that. And that's great, because Jacob, I don't want him coming back into the house, bringing in fleas, and the cats get the fleas. And now we got a whole problem. So that's the kind of customer service at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. What? I'm sorry.
No, it's fantastic.
I actually bought a golf net, like a golf simulator, like bay net that I found cheap online.
Yeah.
And I kind of like made it work by like hammering one end to a tree.
Golf is slightly heavier. The hockey puck is slightly heavier than what the golf is designed for.
But I got it taut, okay, because I got it between the shed and a tree. So I got that thing taut. And he's still finding ways to get pucks in the net by like clanking them off the crossbar, and then they go over the net. I'm like, dude, come on. Anyway, it's great that I love that he's out there all the time getting shots up. Big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer. Check them out online at wh.lawyer. Maybe they can come up with a hockey puck contract for Jacob, where if you lose X amount of pucks, then you're liable for whatever. These are the types of things they can do. And, of course, we thank them for the OG birthday bash.
Yeah,
Charlotte Shady's did a fantastic job.
Opening up early, getting all the kegs that she did. Just a great spot in downtown Garner. And for any and all of your legal needs, wh.lawyer.
My Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. You can buy and sell with confidence. You want to be near Two Roosters, you want to be near a butcher's market, you just tell them that, and then they'll go from there. But no, seriously, they've got, you see a lot of new construction. You see a lot of empty lots. Are there builder incentives? They've got the answers for that. So check them out, myhtr.com. Of course, our friends at the Butcher's Market will bring you an OG live on Thursday night after the Canes game. It'll be a little combination there. And when the Canes do return for more Stanley Cup playoff action, go to Lake Boone location. They got everything you need for tailgating, grab and go, you name it. They've got it. OG Light available at Longleaf Swan. We thank Adam and the crew for bringing out the food.
Absolutely.
Turns out people
great
had not
catering, man.
A lot of people had not had Longleaf
I know.
yet, and they're like, yo,
I will be going there.
And that was the
I've
case.
had it.
And of course,
It's almost like we know what we're talking about.
All right, just like our friends at Bailey's. Bailey's Fine Jewelry, BaileyBox.com. They're experts on just about everything as it relates to jewelry. But really what you need to do is drop on by and check out the watches at Fox and Bailey Watch Shop. Tell them we sent you. Great customer service. The
great selection. My gosh.
Watch collecting can be as cheap as you want it to be, or as expensive as you want it to be. But it all starts with a visit to Fox and Bailey, baileybox.com. And of course, our guy, Chris Brassfield Accounting. Check him out online, brassfieldaccounting.com. He is your fractional CFO. I might need a fractional cameraman. Maybe Brassfield Accounting knows somebody that can do that.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the bandwidth to do it yourself. So hit him up.
Now it's the time to start thinking about those taxes and reconciling all of your transactions for 2026 so that you're not scrambling in 12 months.
Exciting stuff. All right. That's going to wrap it up for tonight's OG After Dark. Big thanks to everybody in the chat. By all means, leave comments, hype it, like it. 5 stars only, positive vibes only. We will see you on Wednesday
for a normal show.
A normal show on Wednesday. See you then.